Stitchy friends, it's me, Sandy, with Stitching with Sandy. Welcome to my floss tube. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. I'm very close to getting to 2,000 and I'm excited about that because I've been collecting charts. Some have been donated and some are from my own stash that I've stitched or decided I'm not going to stitch. And I'm looking forward to having a big giveaway. So if you like this, what you see, and you're inspired or enabled, please hit the like button and subscribe so that way you can come back and see what I'm up to and hopefully win a giveaway. So I've been gone for about a little over a month. I've realized that the months of December and May are my busiest months of the school year. And so because of that, it's very hard for me to manage everything that I usually do. So that's why I'm not here so long, but I'm glad to be back and I'm looking forward to sharing lots with you because stitching has happened. I'm just going to give a brief overview of events that have happened in my life, but I'm not going to go into detail. I will be attaching a video at the end for those of you who are interested. You can see like a little photo drop of the things that I was up to during the month of May. All right, so that means that I started out with open house at the beginning of the month with my sweet kinders. Then we moved on to my birthday and I got another year older, lucky me. And then Mother's Day. I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. My children spoiled me. They're so sweet. You'll see in the video some things that my daughters made for me. And then of course my son buys me candy. I think boys only think about food, but anyways, so that'll be in there. And then came the end of the school year, which was really difficult. Saying goodbye to my kiddos after having them the whole school year long is really hard and always brings tears to me. But we had our end of the year celebration performance in front of our parents, and of course we all cried, moms, dads, and me. But they're off to first grade and I'm so proud of them. They're so ready. And then the last thing was my sweet daughters, Marissa and Cassandra, promoted from 8th grade and they're moving on to high school next year. So I'll have all three of my younger children in the same school at the same time, which is going to be a blessing as far as taxi car driving. But it was a little hard to accept that my babies, the youngest of our 5 children, are moving on to high school. So that's a little hard as a mama, but I'm super proud of them. They both earned honor roll. Marissa earned gold honor roll and Cassandra earned principal's honor roll, which means that she had a 4.0 all 3 years. Marissa had a 3.85 to 4.0 all 3 years. She had one class that she didn't get graded for during COVID, and so that kind of pushed her back a little bit. Otherwise, she would have been principal's honor too. So we're very proud of our very smart young girls, and we're excited to see what's next for them, in store for them. So 3 minutes later, I'm done. That's my opener. So I have lots of stitching. I have 10 FFOs to share with you. So let's get started. The first one, this one's been finished for a while, but I needed to find just the right frame. And this is Strawberry Delight by Teresa Kogut. And here is my finish on that. So I was able to find this hanging picture frame. Sorry for the glare. You could see a lot in the video, but it's in my opener. I love this piece so much, and it's just in time to hang in the month of June. I hang all strawberries in the month of June. So that one was a Patreon piece, and I believe it's been released since then. And I enjoyed stitching every bit of it. It was stitched on 14 count Black Ada. All right, so next up is another piece that has been waiting. It was stitched a while ago, but I couldn't find the right piece. And then finally, I was able to find a piece at Paisley's and Polka Dots. And I have to tell you this little bit of a story about this. So I ordered 2 pieces for finishing, and they came promptly. She has great service, and they came, and I was so excited. I opened them up the week of, I think it was the week of open house. And I was like so excited because I was going to finish them and have them ready to go. So I set the box on the table, and I had told my husband, yay, they finally came in. And he thought Paisleys and Polka Dots was a baby shopping and wanted to know where I was going. And I was joking with him, no babies here, but it is a baby for me. And so when I finally sat down to finish my pieces, I went to go find the box, and the box was missing. And we scoured the house so much. I went through this closet right here is like a craft closet / clothes closet, but I have another craft closet in the hallway. I went through both of those 3 times. I went through every inch of the house. My house became super clean, and I couldn't find them. So I mentioned it to my husband. I said, by any chance, do you think you might have thrown them away? They were in a cardboard box on the table. And he said, well, I remember moving a cardboard box when we put your birthday cake out for you to blow out the candles. And he goes, but I moved it from one end of the table to the other. So it appeared that it was to the closest end near the kitchen trash. And so he went out to look for it, couldn't find it. I was devastated because now I need to order it again. So I spent the whole night sad about it. And the next day I told him, I can't believe I have to order it again. I was hoping I'd find it. And he goes, well, you could sit and worry about it, or you could just order it. And then I said, okay, well, I'm going to go do something. I'll come back and I'll order it. So while I left the house, I ran an errand. He decided to go out to the recycle bin because he was thinking about the cardboard box. And lo and behold, right on top was the box sitting there. And she packages it with crumpled up brown paper. And so that was sitting on top of the wrapped pieces. And so when he picked up the box to put in the recycle bin, he thought it was just the paper in the box. So luckily he picked it up, and when I got home, he said, I found it, and told me all about it. So I was super happy, sat down, started painting them. So let me show you what I made. So this one is called Summer by Stitching with the Housewives. I think it's a Buffalo Plaid Summer, I believe is the actual name. And it's in Punch Needle and Primitive Magazine. And I think it's 2022. But I could be wrong. And I had stitched this a while ago because I love sunflowers, but I couldn't find a piece to hang it on until I was browsing Paisleys and Polka Dots and found this, and it's amazing. So what I've done is I have the rare earth magnets, and a trick that I learned from Kathy Haberman was you put a magnet on your piece, and then you can put the magnet on the back. It's not glued down, and it will hold it, and then when I change it out, I haven't damaged my wood piece at all. And so then I can use it again and again. And then so what I did for this is I actually glued a magnet down, and then I put another one on the back of this sunflower. It's a paper crafting sunflower. And so that I can change this out as I change them. Now I'm hoping to stitch the other 3 seasons. I have not done them yet, but I figured if I do, then I can use this piece all year long and just change these 2 pieces out. So I'm very happy with it. Showing it to a friend of mine inspired her to want to stitch this one too. And I think she's going to order the same piece. So if you're ever looking, take measurements of your piece, look up Paisleys and Polka Dots, and see if you can find something that will fit. And you might be surprised. I was extremely surprised when I found this for that. And I think it was for someone else's design. Maybe Erin Elizabeth, I'm not sure. But I'm just so grateful that I found it. Then next up is the other piece that I use Paisleys and Polka Dots. And this one I was inspired because I had been watching Helen D talk about stitching Erin Elizabeth's Honeybee, I think it was, Honeybee, and the piece that Paisleys and Polka Dots made for that. And I was stitching a Sal, I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but I was doing the Honeybee Quaker by Primrose Cottage, and I was stitching it with Stacy and Sarah. Stacy's Bluebird paper and thread, and Sarah's from Sarah Stitches. And we decided to do a Sal together and stitch it. And Stacy had mentioned on her channel how she felt that the Quakers seemed to stitch up a lot larger than she imagined. So she wasn't sure she really wanted to finish it as a pillow. Well, I felt the same way. When I finished it, I thought, wow, it is kind of big. And so then I thought, I wonder if it would fit on that piece. And I measured it out, and it did. So here is my Honeybee Quaker. Look at how perfect. I love it so much. So what I did is when I was stitching this, if I'll get it up close, you can see the background is a honeycomb, and it's like a pale green. This is a fabric flare. Now I don't know what I think it's called Berkshire honeycomb, I think is what it's called. And they come in, there's one that's a green like this one. There's like a tan yellowish toned colored one. And I think they also have it in a white or a cream. So since I had this fabric that my friend Aga gave me, I decided I wanted to stitch this pattern on it. But the lightest color, that would be where the bees wings are and up here, it was a very light blue, and it blended in with my fabric. So I changed that to white, and then my darker one just didn't look dark enough from this color. It looked too close. So I went a shade darker is what I did. And those are the only two colors I changed. Everything else is called for. And I did them in the DMC. And I just love how it turned out. And this worked perfectly. I did do the crackle finish on it and on the front. I did not do crackle finish on the base or on the top, but I did do on the building. That was fun, but it's very time consuming. So if that's something you want to finish, make sure that you take the time, or give yourself the time to finish it, because it takes layers upon layers, and the bottle of the crackle tells you everything you need to do. And I just followed it. I picked a base color, which was this, and then I painted that on. I put the crackle finish on it, and then you have to wait, I want to say, an hour between each coat. So I put the crackle paint on, and then I waited an hour, and then I painted this color on top. And I just went to Michael's, and I took my piece and picked colors that I thought matched my floss. That's how I did it. There was no like special colors that I was looking for. I just took my piece with me, and then I painted the top. And you have to do it quickly and brush your strokes straight across, because the crackle happens immediately. And if you go over it again, let me show you what it does. Turn on here. Do you see how I have this one smushy part? That's what happens if you don't brush quickly. It gives you kind of that look to it, which I didn't really mind. It still looks weathered, which is what I wanted it to look. But just so you know, you got to be kind of quick and make your strokes go in one direction. That's what I did. And that gave a really good crackle on the front, which I'm really happy with. So all of the pieces, everything, all of the honey dripping down, the honeybee, all of that comes with this piece. So I was really excited about that finish. All right, so then I have some other finishes I want to share with you. This particular finish, my friend PJ went to Stitch West, where Primrose Cottage was. So I don't have the pattern. I borrowed it from her because I loved it. And it was this little mini. I guess they gave it away as a freebie at your table. So I stitched it up on a scrap piece of fabric that my friend Cheryl gave me. And then I decided I wanted to try to make it around, because as you can see, it looks very similar to the Primrose Cottage minis, monthly minis. And I wanted it to be finished a little different since I am stitching those. And so I made it to look like a round pillow, and I just scrunched the center, kind of like you would in the middle of a biscornu, and put in a clear Stampin' Up button. And I did the same on the back too, but I used fabric. So I really love how this turned out. It's a fun little finish. I used some little chenille trim between it. I was going to make the lines come down and make it look more like a pumpkin shape, but I didn't want to cover up my stitches, so I decided not to. And I like how it came out. And it's a different style of pillow than my other ones, so that makes a varied look in my display. Next up, this one is one I've been working on a series, and it's the Summer School series by Brenda Gervais. I completed lesson 1. That's in a previous video. And I started lesson 2, and I started with the woman. And here she is. She's complete. And I love her. And I finished her with some ruching of some organza ribbon. And if you're wondering how to do that, I watched a video from Vonna Pfeiffer. Sorry, I had to recall. Vonna Pfeiffer, she teaches 3 different ways of ruching. To get this look is the one where you stitch, you do a basting stitch going like a diagonal all the way down the ribbon, and then you pull the ribbon down and it scrunches it up. And then you just hand stitch it on. I use that one. I've tried her other ones, but this is my favorite look. So this is the one I'm doing, and I plan on doing all of them finished the same way. So I think she's so pretty. The only thing I changed to this pattern is these little cute little doodads here in Brenda Gervais' pattern. They're like ghost stitches, and I feel like I'm stitching it over one, which is a lot as it is. And so I figured if I'm doing that, I want every stitch to show. So that is why. And I'm stitching it 1 over 1 on 25 count Lugana. And then I'm finishing them all on the back with the same fabric. So that's the next one. So I'll move on to the gentleman next. All right, next up is I'm doing 24 and 24, and I'm working on my Christmas ornaments is what I decided to do for that. So I have 2 finished, which I'm excited. I have my grandson, Lucas. This one would be his 2023 ornament. So I just have to make this year's, and I'm caught up for him. And this is a Prairie Schooler pattern from a magazine from long time ago, just Cross Stitch Magazine, Christmas ornament. And I don't remember what year, but I feel like it was 98. So this is it. I did change one thing, is I stitched his name, Luca, here in the smoke. And I'm going to try to do the same because I'm stitching the same ornament for my 3 sons too. So I'm hoping to get all of their names on there. Hopefully I can do it. If I can't do it like this in a block, I might backstitch their names, but I do want to do their names in the smoke. And then I just finished it with some flannel on the back that I had left over from my recent quilt that I finished. So I love that. And then my next one is my daughter Cassandra's ornament for 2023. And her ornament this is calico. Let me see. Let me look down and get the name of it because it's from Etsy. It's an Etsy designer. And this is from it's called Christmas Sweater Candy Cane Series, and it's by Stitch with Coffee Designs. And so this one has beads in it. See if I lay it down. Oh, there you can see them, beads in it. And I did some cording. I had some red and white cording that matched the candy canes. So what I did is I went across it 3 times. So there's 3, and then I made the hanger. And then on the back, I had this cute little candy fabric that matched these. And then I stitched her name and the year on it. So it is ready to hang on the tree this year. I'm very excited about it. She loves it. Her cat his name's Patrick, and he's an orange tabby cat. And so that's why I chose this one. And she just loves it. So 2 ornaments and 2 more done. That's exciting. All right, next up, I have another frame piece. I stitched this one for my daughter's birthday. And I plan on doing all of my children and mine. And this is the March Quaker by From the Heart Needle Art. And I decided to stitch their birth date over one here instead of stitching March. And all I did was I took the letters from March and I just stitched them over one and put them up high. And then I just hand stitched in their birth date. And then I put a C for Cassandra because they're twins and an M for Marissa. And this is a frame I found at Hobby Lobby. It was like $6.94, and it has a really deep part right here. Like, I'll show you. So I need to get something to hold the back on, and I'll probably, once I get that in there, then I'll put a piece of scrapbook paper back there to hide the back, and it'll be ready to hang up right here behind me. I love how it turned out, and I love this frame. All right. Next up, I organize a swap. I try to do the swap every couple of months. This month's theme was summer swap. And if you are in my swap update is there are several pieces running late. I know it's because it's the beginning of summer and I'm just as guilty, but mine will be going out in the mail today, but I wanted to share them since I'm here. So first of all, have you ever tried to stitch something and in your mind you think it's much smaller than it really is? That's what happened with this one, but I think the person who receives it will love it anyways. I picked the piece. I don't normally have very many beachy themed items here in my house, but I picked this one up at Grand Country Quilts and it's by Rovaris and it's called Beach. And here it is. So you can see it's quite long. I love it though. I think it turned out so nicely. And then I finished it with, I think that's called a fisherman's knot. And then a cute little piece of wool felt, and then some buttons that I had from, these are from Just Another Button Company. And so I really like how it turned out. I'm very happy with it, and I'm hoping that the recipient will love it too. And then next up, one of my recipients dropped out a week before, like last week, and said that she had made a mistake. She thought she was joining a different swap, and she sent the swap to the other person, and then she said, so I can't do two, so I had to stitch all weekend long. I was working on mine, getting it done, and then had to make a second one. So what I ended up doing is I got this is called July Square Dance from Heart and Hand. Here it is. And what I did was, it would have said July here. So I literally turned the pattern upside down. And when I did, it gave me this fish, but going the opposite direction. The only thing I had to adjust was the eye. And then I wanted to give it a little bit of depth to it. So let me turn it this way. I sewed on some clear beads to make them look like bubbles. And I really like how this turned out. And then I stitched a little fish piece of felt on the back to cover up my stuffing line, and finished it with some chenille trim that I had. This is also another piece of that scrap fabric my friend Cheryl gave me. So far I've gotten 2 pieces out of that, and it was a very long skinny scrap of linen that she got, and so I have enough to do 1 more piece. So I'm very excited that I was able to put that to use, and I appreciate that. So thank you, Cheryl, for donating that to me. But I hope that the person that gets this enjoys it. It was a fun stitch. I do want to stitch that series for myself, and I think when I do, I'm going to take all of the monthly names out, because I have lots of pieces that have the names, and do something like I did with this one and take a motif from the rest of it and just duplicate it and turn it the other way. And I think that makes it a perfect way to get rid of the word and still save the beauty of the piece altogether. So that worked on that. And let's see, I think that's all of my FFOs. Let me see. Yes, 10 finishes. So I have some FOs to share with you. So let me just click off my light there. I don't think I needed it. All right, so for my FOs, I have this one. This one was my birthday gift from my last year's birthday gift from my Stitchy group. And they're so kind. They got together to celebrate my big birthday and surprised me with my husband being involved. And one of the gifts they gave me was a pattern by the Good Housewife, and which is out of print, and it's called 3 Crows, and because they know I love crows. And then together, one person made me a project bag to go with it, and they bought the silks for it, and the MPI silks, and so I was so glad. And there was linen, 2 different choices of linen for me to choose from inside of it. And this is what I used, and I finished it, and I'm so excited. I just need to figure out how I'm going to FFO it, but I love it very, very much. It's beautiful. So there's that one. Next up, I was working on a piece that I just picked up. I think it was for a challenge that I was working on that I wasn't as successful as getting that many things done, but it was a new start, and so I decided in May to go ahead and finish it up. And this is Friends Are Flowers, and so this says Friends Are the Flowers of Life. This is Lucy Beam, and this is in a spring edition, last year's 2023 spring edition of Punch Needle and Primitive magazine. And I think it's so pretty, and I'm going to make it a long pillow like this beachy pillow, because I know it's big, but I think that's so cute. And this is stitched on 40 count Grace Notes. I can't remember, I don't recall the color, but I want to tell you that when I went to StitchCon last year and I went to Keepsakes, Susan talked me into buying 40 count. And I was like, I don't know if I could do that. It's kind of small. I already struggle with my glasses as it is to stitch with it. So, and I used a magnifying glass. And she said, have you tried a 10 times magnifier? And I said, no, I did not know they made one. So she gave me a link to Amazon, which I couldn't find the one she had. So I just typed in 10 times magnification light. And then a whole bunch popped up. And so I bought one, and she was right. With that, you can stitch on 40. I probably could go even higher. It was very easy to do, not a struggle. So it took that fear of stitching on smaller count away, because now I have a tool to help me do that. So if you're ever wanting to do that and you think you can't, try one of those larger magnifying lights, because it really helps me, and so it makes me happy because now I can stitch on anything. Next up is a piece that I stitched. This one is from an Etsy designer. It's called Happy Mood Point, and what I wanted was a Quaker tree, and so I looked it up, and I found one by her, and I think I paid like $2 for it. It wasn't very much. It was originally stitched with a navy blue color, all monochromatic, but I didn't want to do that. So I chose this pretty blue fabric that I had in my stash. I know it's a Grace Notes. I just don't recall what the name of it is. And then I chose to pick 2 greens. One is 4-leaf clover, and one is mistletoe for the 2 greens. And then I chose some random colors to do the flowers and the bird in the center to give that pop of color. And I really like how it turned out. I think it's beautiful. So I'll have to find a way to finish this one as well. And I just completed it. So you can see I've been doing a lot, but believe me, that's not all, there's more. So I just want to clarify my swap update. The swaps, some have already gone out, some have been received, but I like to show them all at once with one little video input. But as I said, there are a few that are delayed. They will be arriving to you. I've seen the pieces finished. They just needed to get them out of the mail because they were either gone to an event with their family and just got back, or they were running behind with work like I was. And but they're coming. So if you're waiting, don't despair. They're on their way. And then I wanted to stop in and tell you I do a Stitch With Me Zooms the 2nd and 4th Sunday of every month. So the next one is tomorrow. I know this might be very short notice, but you could come to the next one. All you have to do is email me. My email address is in the box below, and I will send you the link to join us. We have such a great time in there. Lots of different chatting about life, about stitching, seeing each other's work. We're currently doing a stitch along. So we have a great time, and even if you're shy or you're an introvert and you don't want to talk a lot, we have some friends that are, and they come and they just talk when they feel comfortable. There's no pressure on them. Usually the most they might say is hello and share what they're stitching on, and then I just let them be. And if they join in the conversation, that's wonderful. And if they don't, that's okay too, because sometimes you just would like to not stitch alone. You want to have someone near you, and this is a great way to do that. And other than that, if you have finishing ideas and things like that, you can share what you're doing as well. So if you're not an introvert, feel free to come in and chat along with us. Then let me get to my WIPs. This is going to be full video of stitching, and more stitching. All right, so let's go with my WIPs. So what I did during the month of May is I've participated in 2 different challenges. One is hosted by Laura from Stitching by the Shore. She does a I Spy stitch. So she will come up with the prompts. There's always 10 of them. You don't have to complete them all. You don't have to do her goal. You make your own goals. And then all you do is you post in her page. She has a Facebook page. You can go in there and you can post your starting picture and for how it fits the theme. And then you post your finished picture. And it's just kind of a way to guide you to work on your WIPs that maybe you haven't thought about in a while, and motivate you to get them done. I did a 2-hour goal on all of mine this time because I knew May was going to be busy, but I knew I could squeeze in an hour before I went to work and an hour when I got home so that I could participate. Wasn't successful. I did not complete all of them, and that's okay. There's no police about whether you did or you didn't. It's just for your own benefit. So I also participate in the Magazine Monthly. They have a Facebook group as well, Magazine Monthly Challenge. And Carolyn Zook runs that group. And that one, they have an acrostic that you can use and work on WIPs or new starts, whichever you choose. And there's always a theme of the acrostic, and then there's an acrostic. And in your birthday month, there's a special one just for your birthday. So I chose to do that one. And again, not too successful with completing them all, but I did get some done. So I'm going to share with you what the prompt was and what I was able to complete. So in the May I Spy, I had something with flowers. So I will also be double dipping because I'm going to tell you about several sales that I'm in. I went from 0 to like 20 all of a sudden. I'm not sure how that happened, but I'm excited to be a part of it. So this one is a sal. I chose to do flowers. So I chose the May Quaker because it was my birthday month and there's flowers in there. And my friend Shelly, her floss tube is It's Only Stitching, and she's on Instagram. Is Key X Stitch on Instagram is. So if you want to follow her. Her and I are birthday twins. So we are same birth date, different years. But last year we did one together, and so we're like, we got to do another one together again. So what I chose is we're going to do this one. She's doing her own color conversion. I switched out mine, I think, a little bit too, but I'm going to do again in this little motif down here. I am going to put my birth date in there, and then I'll put my birthday initials somewhere, or my letter initials somewhere in the chart. So to get a start on it, and that's all I got was a start. I did complete that motif. I just need to stitch my birth date 1/1 on it. So that's where as far as I am, but her and I are stitching it together. So I've got to get some more work in it now that I'm off. It's summer break. I'm so excited. So that was a new start. So it wasn't a WIP, it was a new start, and I did that much on it. And when you do the challenges, whatever the item is has to be in the pattern, but doesn't necessarily have to be what you're currently stitching on. So don't be afraid or that you get stuck on that because you think you have to go up to it and stitch it. No, as long as it's in the pattern and you can show the cover sheet to prove that, that's all you need. All right, so then the next thing was something with grass. This is another sal too. This sal is, I'm stitching this one with many, many people. I will include all of them in the description box below if they have a floss tube. There's a couple people from Instagram that have joined me too. This one was started by Laura, Stitching by the Shore. She had seen it because it was in the spring 2024 issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine. And the funny part was that when she saw the design in here, which here it is, okay, I model stitched this. So when she found that out, she said, oh, that seals the deal, I'm doing it. And she started a sal, and there's several people stitching it too, and a lot of them are already finished. I'm still not finished. She asked if I'd want to stitch it again. And I said yes, because in my mind, I wanted to do the rain, like real rain. And I wanted it to look like a gloomy, rainy day, because those are my favorite weather. So what I did was I chose different classic colorworks, and I chose, this is Stormy Gray Dyed Effect by Fabric Flare, and here's where I'm at. And you can't see it that well in real life or in the video, because they look kind of gray toned, but in real life you can see the blues and greens that I have stitched in there. So I have been taking this with me to physical therapy, because it's on Ada and I don't need anything to see the Ada. And so I've been working on it. So while I was waiting for them to call me, I would stitch up a color, then switch out, stitch another one, and keep going. Well, now physical therapy has ended, and I just have 4 more reins to add, and then she'll be done. And I will include her hashtag too. There's a hashtag for, I believe it's called Spring Showers Sal. So I will put that on the bottom too, so that you can look them up. You can also go on my Instagram. My Instagram account is also in the description box below. And if you go to my page, you can click on some of my works in progress for this particular one, and you'll see the other stitchers who are stitching it too, because I try to make sure I tag them in the post, and then you can go over to their page and see what theirs look like. Everybody's doing it a different way in different colors, and they look amazing. So that's another sal that I'm a part of. And that fit the grass. And then the next one was something you might see in a Star Wars movie or TV show. And I was like, oh dear, that is not my genre of interest. But the more I looked through my WIPs, I discovered that I could do this one, and it's called Ravens, and it's a Mill Hill kit. And I chose the moon because I know that space, the moon's included. So I chose this one. And it was a WIP that I've been working on a while ago. So it was nice to get back to it. And let me show you my progress. All right. And here it is. Oh, it's hard to show with, let's see if I could put my bag up so you can see it better. All right, there we go. It's on a navy blue. And so you can see I just got the outline of the moon. But when I picked it up, all I had were the birds. So I went ahead and started on the tree and moved over till I got to the moon. And so I'll get back to it. But I really liked this particular prompt because it was hard to figure out what I was going to do. But it actually forced me to pull out something that I hadn't worked on in a while. And I love all of my WIPs, so I need that motivation from time to time. All right, and then the next one is something with a bee. Something with a bee. I'm just turning to the, there we go. All right, so I pulled out Simple Life by Teresa Kogut. This was her stitch along last year, and I got very behind on it, did not finish it. So I got it out. Here it is. And when I picked it up, there's lots of little bees in there. I didn't have this fence down here done. So I finished the entire fence before putting it down. So I still have a long ways to go. Let me see if I have the cover sheet. I can show you what the whole thing looks like. So I do have a long ways to go. Let's see. Here it is. So here is the full piece. And I have all of this. And now I have the fence. And I have the side and the top. So now I'm ready to do this giant motif up here. And then I could start the bottom. So I'm hoping to get a lot more work done on it over summer break. I'm going to keep doing these challenges each month over summer so that I can continue to add my WIPs in there. And there will be new starts because I don't know how not to do a new start. But that one had bees in it. And So that was that prompt. Next up was something with the color red. So I picked up another piece. This one I started at StitchCon last year so that I could commemorate my trip there. I know a lot of people are there this weekend. This is the first weekend, weekend A. I hope they're having a fantastic time. And it is called My Heart is Fed. This is it. I plan on changing the TK for Teresa Kogut and putting StitchCon 2023 in there, because that'll commemorate my time there. And here is, you're not going to see a lot because I put 2 hours time and that day was a busy day. So here is where I'm at. And what I did for the 2 hours was just the spread right here. That's it. But going and doing one stitch at a time because it's a Classic Colorworks and I want to make sure the variegation's there. It took me 2 hours to do that. To me, doesn't look very big, but when you're working on her, that's a really wide skirt. As you know, if you're a Teresa Kogut lover, most of her ladies do have big skirts. So that's what I did for red. Then the next one was something you see at a party. And I used that twice. I used it on Laura's challenge and I used it on the birthday challenge, because one is let's go to the party and one was something you see at a party, and I put people you would see at the party, and that's what got me the finish on this one. So I finished up the lady and I put her down as the party goer. And then the next one was a curved line. Now this is another sal that I'm doing. This one I'm doing with several people too. I know for sure the Bougie Stitchers are doing with me, and Nancy from the Disorderly Stitcher is also doing it with me. I think there's several other people too. Again, you could check my updates on Instagram. I know I try to tag them in there, and in previous videos I do. But this is for the Equality Sampler by Plum Street. And I chose the Eagle's Wing as the curved line. And I was so excited because the last time I had stitched on it, I had thought, next time I'm stitching the eagle. And that is exactly what I did. And I'll show you what I did. So here he is. Isn't he beautiful? He's so pretty. Something that I did was my linen was like really frayed, and I didn't leave more than 2 inches as a border, and I didn't want to fray any further. So what I did was I went ahead and sewed on some fabric so that when it's in my Q-snap and my Q-snap's pulling, it's not going to pull and make it unravel any more than it already is. So that's where I wanted to get. So the next time I stitch on it, I'm going to come down here and start working up this way, because the other side looks just like this side. So I want to get some difference, do something different on it. And then, so I'll start up here and I'll come back later and do the title at the top, but I'm really enjoying this stitch. It's a lot of fun. Her pieces are huge, and so they take a lot longer than you think they're gonna take, but I am enjoying that. I got it out on Memorial Day and I spent the whole day working on it. And so that's another style that I was working on. All right, next up would be the Birthday Magazine Monthly. The theme was To the Party. So that's what, To the Party. And then here comes another sal that I'm doing. So in my Zoom group, we decided to do a sal together. And I blame Kim, Contented Needleworker Kim, for that, because she said, hey, you guys, we should be doing a sal. So that's how that one came about, which I'm happy to do it. Don't get me wrong. I would join everybody's sal. I don't mind. And what we decided was, first we were looking at things that came from Nashville Needlework. And a lot of people liked the crackers that came out by Stacey Nash. So, and then I said, well, you know, I've been wanting to do a cat like my Raven. So I said, what if we just picked any animal cracker and everyone could pick whichever one they wanted. So I chose to do Animal Cracker Clementine, and this is my working copy. Now Clementine, she has a little white nose and a little brown hair. mine is going to look like my raven, and my raven is pure black. So, and I have only been stitching on this when we Zoom. I know that Kim has already finished hers, but she took it with her on the road. But so I've only been stitching it when we Zoom together, and this is as far as I've gotten. So if you'd like to join us, the hashtag is Stitchin', no G, with Sandy and with an I. Stitchin' Crackers with Sandy. Now Stitchin' doesn't have a G, Sandy has an I, not a Y. And that is our hashtag. And please tag me in it if you do it. I would love to see what you're working on. And if you want to work on it with us, then you're welcome to join my Zoom and come on in. And you can see I didn't give a lot of room down here, but I'm planning on making her into a stand-up. I know that some people are making theirs into pillows. This one calls for this little scissor holder on the back. I'm gonna make her a stand-up. I've made one stand-up. I really like the process, so I think she'll be cute. And I'll be able to put her up next to a photo of my beautiful raven. So that's another style I'm doing. And then let's see. So that was C, so the word was chariot, and I only did 3 letters. The H was meow block. This one is by Hands on Design, and I've been stitching it for my daughter. This is the meow block. And coincidentally enough, when I hit 2,000, there's another meow block. It has the little wool, and it has the pins because somebody gifted it to me, and it's all set like this, and I already have it. So that'll be one of my giveaways, but I'll show you. So I started this a while ago, and on different challenges, I'll pull it out. And so when I got this out, I'm almost to the end of the long, and this would be the side piece on the block. So here it is. I stitched it on 28 count coffee tea dyed Monica that I dyed myself, and I'm stitching it. These ones remind me of my daughter's cat Patrick. And then when you get down here, I have a gray tabby Tucker, and that looks like Tucker. And then you come down, you have the black kitty, and that is like Raven. And so all I have left is there's a couple more paw prints that run across the top, and then the little fish bones at the bottom. And then this side will be complete. And so then I'll start the top piece. The top piece has the cat faces, as you can see from the picture. And then on the bottom, I plan to stitch paw prints and put each cat's name, because my daughter would like all of them represented on her block when it's finished. So I will be working on that. So I was able to get those last cats in, and I was very pleased about that. Then the last one is called Rose Hips and Ivy by Blackbird. That's what I did for the R and Chariot. And this one's also a SAL. And this is the SAL with my group, the Menifee Stitchers. And it comes from this book, the Blackbird book called Sewing Club. And we are stitching Rose Hips and Ivy, which is this drum. And the plan is that we will all get together and finish it together, because some of us have done drums and some have not, and this way those of us who have will help the ones who have not. So I picked a piece. This is Malt of the Earth by Live and Dye Fabrics, Live and Dye in LA Fabrics, and mine is almost done, and I did a little bit of a change to it. So here is my piece. All I have left is the top border, but I wanted to make sure all of my friends that are participating in it were on here. So what I did is, here's my initials over 2, but over 1 you can see I did my friend Barbara, her B, Kimberly, their K, Gina. Then over here I have Arnett and Debbie and Kim. And I'm not sure, I have to ask her. I think my friend Cheryl's doing it too. So I'm gonna ask her, and if she is, I'm gonna add a C for Cheryl. And then that way when I finish it and I put it all together, and I'm gonna put the year over here when I have to put the year in. then I'll have a piece for my friends that I stitch with. So that's another sal that I'm working on. All right, and the reason why I mentioned all the sals is because I have a couple more sals that I'm participating in, one that I'm going to be starting, and I wanted to share it with you. So the other sals that I'm working on is Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery is doing a sal of the Arctic animals. This is the first release, and I had this piece of fabric from, I think it's called Cosmos, from Live and Die LA. Here is the Live and Die LA Cosmos, and it's 28 count. And I love the fabric so much, and I thought this reminds me of the Aurora Borealis, and I thought, oh, what a great fabric to put Arctic animals on. So here's the fabric. Isn't it gorgeous? And here, let me come closer and I'll show you. This was the first release for May, which means the next release is coming soon. And this one is Arctic Foxes and Arctic Voles. Now they have, in the design, she has like a piece of color here and a piece of color here labeling the animals. I didn't think it needed it, so I'm leaving it off. And my decision is that as I go along, I'll stitch all the animals. At the end, if I think, oh yes, it does need it, then I'll add them. But as of right now, I don't think it needs the titles. So I'm leaving that off. So I'm excited to work on that. Then one more sal I'm doing with my friend Aga. Her and I both, it was funny, we were talking about this pattern, and I was like, oh, I have that, and I want to start it in the fall. And she's like, well, I really want to do it. I can't stop thinking about it. So I said, well, let's just start it now. So we're talking about Folksy Thomas by Teresa Kogut, and both of us were inspired. We saw Olivia on Pumpkin Hollow Quilts had just finished it, and that's what reminded me, oh yeah, you have that. You should get it out and do it yourself. And then I thought, oh, I'll make it a fall start. But then when August said, did you see the Folksy Thomas? And I said, yeah, I have it. She goes, oh, I want to do it. So the two of us are stitching it. So we started it. I think she has more of a start than I do because she already has the pumpkin and part of Thomas. We're starting in different places. She started in the center. I started in the bottom right corner, which is where I normally start my pieces. And here's my start. So I don't have nearly as much as she does, but I'll get more in. And she's visiting in her family in Poland for the whole month till 4th of July. So I think I can get some more in before she gets back, catch up to her. So I love this piece. And I like being able to stitch out of season too, because then when the season comes, you have some finishes for that season. So that's a sal. And then let me tell you about the very next sal. So Sarah showed me this pattern, and she said, I think you should get it. I think it's one that you will like too, because we pretty much like the very same things. So I looked it up, and sure enough, she was right. And it's called Stars, Stripes, and Strawberries. And it's on Etsy by Needle Treasures Nook. So this is the design. Isn't it cute? So we bought it yesterday. Our plan is to start it on June 19th. So if you want to start it with us, go on over to Etsy. I want to say it's like $4. It wasn't very much. And you can get it. And also, what I want to tell you is, what I noticed when I printed it out was in the color chart, or in the key code, it had color blocks and then it had symbols. And then I was like, but it only had a black and white pattern. So what I did is I messaged the seller, her name is Marietta, and I said, I noticed this when I printed. Did the color chart, is it missing, or is it not supposed to have one? I was just curious, because if you have a color chart, I would like to do the color chart. I prefer those. And she said, I'll give you one, and she sent it right over. So if you get this and you are like me and like the color chart, she might have added it since I asked her. But if not, she responded really quickly within like an hour of me asking. And then she returned the chart to me within an hour after that, after I said that I would love to have it. So you can ask her. Never hurts to ask. That's the worst thing they can do is say no. That's not going to hurt you any. So I'm going to stop here because I have been working a lot in June, but I think since I'm off on summer break, I can come to you more frequently. So I want to save what I've been doing in June and share that with you next time. I remember that I said at the end will be a video of different things that happened over the month of May. If you choose to watch my class open house, I took photos of that. I think it came out so beautiful. I included Mother's Day. My children spoiled me. We didn't do anything for my birthday. I know I didn't mention that, but that was because one of my daughters was sick. And so normally we would go out to dinner together, but because she wasn't feeling well, we decided to postpone that and do it at a different time. And now it's so far after, I think I'll just worry about that next year. It's not a big deal. So there's no pictures from that, but I also have pictures of my stitchy friends. I stitched at Grand Country Quilts, and that was a lot of fun. And they have so much stitching, and she just got dental arts came in, so I'm super excited to go back and visit her at the end of this month. We stitch there at Grand Country Quilts on the 4th Saturday of every month. So if you would like to join us there, it's from 10 to 3, and Grand Country Quilts is in San Marcos, California. And we'd love to have you come join us. It's a lot of fun. So my stitchy friends are in there, and then my daughter's promotion, if you're interested. And if not, then I'm so grateful that you did stop by, and I will see you probably in a week or so. I hope that you have a wonderful summer. If I don't see you before, I hope that you have a wonderful Father's Day. And if that's a rough day for you, I hope that your stitching brings you comfort. I'm looking forward to Father's Day. And then if you're doing any summer retreats, I hope you have a great time doing them. It's a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time. Take care, and bye.